when the film were being made anyway. Yeah, and then it was like a year after. But anyway, we went to Hippodrome, it was like a matinee showing, and there were me and a couple of mates, and we sat there. There weren't many people in there because it was afternoon and stuff. But anyway, film starts, and there are like a couple of women 2 rows behind, and not many other people in there, as I say. 2 oldish women, well, they're old women to us, like. And it seems like they must not have been to pictures for a long time, because film starts and it's in black and white, and it's pretty silent, you know, apart from music, but first few minutes. So it trundles along. Then suddenly one of these women says, "Oh, is it not a talkie?"
Yeah, we've done it. We've done it. We did it last night. There you are.
It's going to be a cold one, isn't it?
It is going to be a chilly. Yeah, it'll be alright. Me and Brooke and Tia, we've had a few trial runs.
Oh, have you?
We've been coming up here for the last week or so.
What, getting warmed up?
Getting warmed up, yeah. So I said to Hayley, I said it'll be a breezing ocean for us. I said we've been coming up every other week. We've been coming up with dog.
Like, you see, if kids are used to it, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
We were up yesterday doing a recce, like, but
yeah.
It was cold up too.
Oh, I bet it were yesterday, yeah.
It was freezing up there.
You don't realise how cold it actually is until you get up there, do you?
No. It was absolutely bitter. How does it feel for you, this then?
Well, it was worse that we ran up and down, but it's memories of always. That's what I remember, always having my willies on for 10 weeks.
Really?
Every day with no break, 8 in the morning till tea time, every day. Me and Alan.
It's weird as well because the local people think a lot of it was shot on Pendle, actually on Pendle, don't they? But in the film they were all round back, weren't they? Yeah.
It's on the back lane between Worston and Downham.
That little hillock thing.
Yeah.
I didn't know that until recently. Someone told me.
Yeah. And the kids from the schools came at weekend and they used to get £10 a day for doing it.
£10?
Yeah, a lot of money then.
Yeah. What's that, 50p?
Yeah.
50p a day.
1961.
Yeah.
They were well off.
It must have been exciting at school and that.
Oh. Well, me and Alan didn't see, we could never get to them because we weren't part of that. So for 10 weeks we were missing from school.
10 weeks?
Yeah. And then 2 weeks down.
Oh. Well, of course, because they did shoot the barn scenes and that down at
in the actual
inside.
barn.
Right.
These are party scenes that we did
down at
inside
Palmer.
the house.
Right.
Yeah. Well, they took the original farmhouse door off.
Right.
They took it down.
Who are you? Who are you? Who are you?
So, tell me what you can remember about the film Whistle Down the Wind.
It's about a young girl that found a man hiding in her father's barn. She said, she came upon him, he said, Jesus Christ. She thought it was Jesus Christ. That's it, isn't it? That is
she misconstrued
yeah.
the Jesus Christ statement, and that's what the whole film They made the film right now,
And
didn't they?
so he was introduced eventually, gradually, to all her friends as Jesus.
I remember it more because it was such a shock horror for my mum when we saw it, because she went to church every week.
In such golden sepia tones. Maybe, you know, nostalgia, probably.
I mean, black and white does that to you.
And just, halcyon days.
I saw it at Grand Hotel in Nelson. I think it was 1961. Could be mistake, it might be 62.
Everybody were invited, or the talk of it. This is just something that's coming back to me. I think an Odeon or somewhere in Burnley had a big premiere of it.
It's in black and white.
Right.
It's in black and white. I'm sure it's in black and white. Yeah.
It's a part of the kitchen sink, Joan Littlewood, all that kind of theatre that was socially aware.
But my memory of it is quite a rich gold. It's quite a rich gold, sepia, is my memory of it. And so can I ask you that?
It is in black and white.
Is it just really dull, black and white?
Yeah.
Sort of? Yeah,
black
it's
and
funny
white.
that, because as I remember it, it's quite a rich gold.
It was just golden TV.
It's just got the best lines of any film, and half of them were probably ad-libbed and improvised, I think, by the children.
I'm quite adamant that it were local children that were involved from like Downham, Chatburn, and I do think that they had some kind of strange way of, they just like lined them all up, the kids, and went you and you.
What?
What does Pendle Hill look like?
Mount Everest. With all the clouds touching it.
It looks big, doesn't it?
It was a practical thing, having to be up and ready for 8 o'clock in the morning to be picked up for 10 weeks, non-stop, every day, no weekends, no nothing. And I didn't get home till tea time. And the weather was February weather, cold, wet, rainy, and never been able to not wear wellies. I had to wear them every day.
Right through there, through mud. Ready?
And in the clothes that my mum was going to throw out, and I had to resurrect them and wear these tatty clothes. My brother's socks with the blue, the stripe around the top, rag bag stuff. My hair always had to be the same, so the continuity, so.
I think it'll take 10 days.
Oh, you've been coming up, haven't you, regularly?
You've been coming up with Dad? Broke ours.
I came up here with Dad. I've only came here once. You said she's only came here once. Yeah, Uncle David!
Yeah?
When I came here once, I lost my earmuffs.
Oh, you need them on top.
I think it's a beautiful film because of the way, sort of that naivety of the children.
Just they were all locals, weren't they? Yeah. So they all felt really close.
Well, I think it's something that's been part of my life as a child, because everybody used to talk about it in the village that I lived in, particularly my dad, many years ago, because I think the village I lived in was Worsthorne, and I think some of the children who lived in the village were chosen to run down a hill.
Well, there's no getting away from it, obviously they've got this massive hill on the horizon.
It's always got that massive presence. It's like a dormant animal sleeping really in the background. So
I went up Pendle 7 times in a fortnight.
Did you?
Pendle saved my life.
Well, we kind of see Pendle every day, don't we?
Yeah, it's
but
such a
At
big...
some point, you see it nearly every day.
So where's Pendle from here then?
Right behind us, look at her.
you only have to drive past Pendle really, and and it gives you sort of a thrill of being outdoors and of being mysterious. I don't know what it is about it, but it has that presence.
The many trips that I did take up Pendle as a child were at Easter.
Yeah.
You know, for religious reasons with the church.
Yeah. And they still, well, they used to do it. I've been up Good Friday, not this year, last year. They'd always do a service on top on Good Friday.
Yeah, they have a crucifix and everything now, don't they, up
Yeah,
there?
they normally take it up, yeah. We didn't go this year. We did actually go up on Good Friday this year, but we went in the morning.
Right.
Because I remember our John saying to us, oh, that film we filmed at the back of Pendle.
Yeah.
And every time I go round to Clitheroe Car Boot and you go round the back of Pendle, I always look and think, oh, that's where kids used to come running down on film, you know. Like.
Yeah.
I have, yeah.
And then when we started filming, we didn't know what we were doing, what the story was, because we'd no script, no script at all. Well, it's tiny, tiny little bits, and if they do it a bit different and it's all right, that's fine. Because he wanted the excitement, the pure innocence, and the spontaneity came through because, well,
you really didn't know what was going on.
we really didn't know. No, we didn't know. No.
No, not yet, love. I'll have it at the top.
Can we just get a little bit further up here where you like?
It's going to be up north. We're not using stage children. I'm not going to give them a script. And I've never done it before. Is that all right?
All the checkpoints are tiny, yeah. Click the checkpoint. That's how you get to boss level so quickly.
This whole classroom of children walking down to see if they can see Jesus.
There was a whole school's worth. 30 or 40, I don't know.
Well,
Some sort of classroom size. You know,
Possibly not as many as you imagined at the time.
Yeah.
I reckon there must have been at least 100 plus kids in that scene. Because they just came from everywhere all of a sudden. Started off with sort of half a dozen or so. And then just escalated. And it's like, because she said she'd sent for the children.
Yeah.
I'm like, where are they all coming from? I never saw this many in the film.
But the film is so integral to the countryside and vice versa, and that those stunning images that they're getting where they're on the horizon and you can see the children just kind of swinging their arms and legs as they're walking along the hill with Pendle Hill in the background.
I mean, they couldn't have filmed that film anywhere else, really.
I seem to remember the last scene when they were all coming down, and I think there's some dramatic music playing at the time, and them all ploughing through the fields in their wellies, and it felt like there was about 30 kids or 50 kids.
The man were a murderer that the children found, I think. But they thought he was Jesus.
I can't remember the parents being involved in it, and I think that's the beauty of the film, that it's shot as you would remember it as a child, that freedom of roaming the fields and getting up to mischief and, you know, relying on your mates to give you a hand and all that stuff. So I like the fact that in the film the parents are sort of from what I can remember anyway, are sort of distant from it, and these little children are the stars of the show, the instigators, the makers of the plot, and the adventurers. And
you can see what happens and why they end up going down that road.
They sport like us and they dress like us, and that's the way we're dressed, in gabardines and wellies, and there weren't a lot of money about, and people, you didn't have a car, but you go walking.
I think, you know, where kids see things, it's kind of total innocence. They don't see, you know, the penny didn't drop that he were a hardened criminal, that he was wanted for, you know, what, I can't even remember what he were wanted for.
in my day, children were seen and not heard.
And obviously then, probably under the age of 10, we'd always go to Pendle, we'd go walks around Pendle, and I think most of the scenes, especially with not the kids in, are based on
Pendle, oh Pendle, I stand solo, twixt Burnley and Clipper, oh Whalley and Cone, where Ribble and Hatters, fair waters to me, Ballion down and contented I feed.
I can't even recall what season.
Normally in films it's trees full of blossom and golden sunshine, but I don't think it'd have made much difference if it had filmed it in colour, because it must have been filmed, say, early April, May. The trees weren't out in blossom, the trees weren't had any leaves on it, so if they'd have spent millions and done it in colour, I don't think it'd have made much difference. It is a black and white film. And I know your memory doesn't do this, but you seem to have your memory of your childhood in black and white. I can't remember a colourful incident up to a certain phase. It seemed everything was black and white.
Hey, look at song thrush there. Gorgeous song thrush. Just there's rare sense tea. It's because it's left alone, isn't it? You know, they need all this scrubbiness. That's what they need.
That familiarity, like this is home. This scenery feels really like home.
Pendle Hill and the bleakness of the countryside and the sort of skeletal trees.
I did some research about and tried to figure out where they'd shot it for some reason, and then I went round trying to find in my car and walking around, and I can't remember where.
I think Down's a special place anyway because of the fact that it hasn't changed. There are many places where films have been done and then, you know, they've changed the place and it's become unrecognisable, but here I don't think it's ever changed. There's nothing new.
I recognised it immediately from the film and Pendle Hill, and it was a big thrill for me to think, wow, I'm actually living in the place where they made that film.
But then, it was such a wonderful story, wasn't it?
It was natural.
Wonderful story.
It was natural, and because it was local to our area, it got into your head and into your heart, really. You know.
And I remember, I think it was 3 kittens when they first going into the barn, because I think the dad's he's gonna drown the kittens, or his worker's gonna drown the kittens out of a bag.
Yeah.
And so you're starting off with a pretty brutal idea that they're rescuing kittens.
They try and hide the kittens from the dad who owns a farm, and they go to the barn and discover another character.
He laid there asleep. I'm sure he was asleep, you know, then waking up and all this straw and stuff, you know. And that's my first, all in black, all black, big black coat on, you know, big. I mean, I used to have a coat like it myself, you know.
Did you?
Like me, all black overcoat, yeah, and black hair, and a beard. And the beard really stood out on him, you know. But it wasn't an evil face, right, soft face, if you will, you know.
Kind of follows sort of the typical sort of trait as to what you would describe Jesus as if if you gave some sort of 5-year-old a pencil and sort of said, right, draw me Jesus, they'd probably they sort of long sort of hair and some sort of beard. And
it's such a mixed message though, isn't it? Because they play with the Jesus thing, but he's very dark at other times, and a very scary grown man, and with a young girl.
He's a charlatan.
I don't remember there ever being anything, any worry or any danger between the man and the children.
Came across as obviously a much nicer guy than your average paddy.
I can't remember how they believe it's Jesus, but I think it's because he's got a beard and he's led down in the straw. I don't know whether he's hiding or whether he's wounded, because I think that he doesn't move on because he can't go anywhere else. So he's a murderer, and I think he's murdered his wife, and he's taking refuge in the barn, and the children find him.
They were putting one of the cat in the box, and the cat's been startled. Claude, the chap who was laid asleep, and she asked who he was, and obviously because he'd been startled by a cat, as you do, he went, Jesus Christ, who are you?
Jesus Christ.
Oh. Hello.
I opened my boot in my car last week and jumped in.
That one?
Yeah.
It's a male, so...
Yeah, you up to Tommy? Hello.
Hello.
Young cat.
Strange for a...
Yeah. Inquisitive. Good job you got a bell on it. Here, get out of here. This shed won't take any scratches.
I bet Alan Bates would have said that, hadn't he?
Who are ya?
Jesus.
When you get to where Josh is, that's like halfway. Well, it's more than halfway.
That's halfway up the steps?
No, it's more. You're near the top. You just got to go around that corner at the top and you're there now. Don't.
My legs are already dead. I know. Should have waited down here, shouldn't they?
That naivety of the children and that idea of a stranger and them knowing that they're not supposed to be speaking to strangers, and the fact that it all gets mixed up with this myth about Jesus being in the barn and the fact that he's come back, and they mustn't tell the adults because what did the adults do to Jesus last time?
I suppose looking back on it as well, I know I said earlier that the children now wouldn't be so naive, but particularly in that sort of a community, they would probably all regularly attend church and Sunday school, so you get the Jesus bit well and truly entrenched in there.
Yeah.
And it sort of, I suppose, that makes it more believable to a child.
Yeah.
You know, that idea of like, you had to be ready, you know, ready for when he came. And
we're just going down to my allotment. This is a bit of land that obviously a lot of the neighbourhood and community bought.
It's really, really interesting to see Northern voices, really. I think, you know, it kind of came with that sort of kitchen sink sort of tradition of, you know, things being really, really realistic.
Well, obviously Jesus is a very important person. If I come across Jesus, I wouldn't want to tell anybody in them days. To be, I suppose, my little secret.
Oh, she shouldn't be keeping that a secret.
Yeah. When the secret is actually, it's supposedly a nice secret, the temptation is to really maybe actually share that secret, even though you've actually promised your parents that you wouldn't.
Well, I must admit, with the kids not telling their elders about it, I found that a bit scary as well, if I'm honest. Right?
This secret, over a period of time, no longer becomes a secret because one tells another, and then another child informs another child.
She had all the children queuing up to go in to see Jesus, and I think some of them brought gifts and
Finishing bits of food from the table at breakfast and stuff like that, you know, and secreting it around the body and feeding him.
She pinches her dad's wine and a chunk of fruit cake and
took it to the man in the barn who they thought were Jesus, and they were taking him food, and obviously took the old man's whiskey or whatever his tipple of pleasure were at the time.
I like to think of it as Twinkle, but it's not Twinkle magazine. Twinkle was what I would have got as a kid. And she has an Arabian charm bracelet as a free gift, which she gives to Jesus. And Jesus has no idea what to do with this.
And the music changes as well. At one time, when they bring gifts, there's three kids representing the three kings bringing gifts.
Yeah, and it's the music is...
and the music changes as to, I think, is it We Three Kings?
Yeah.
They were like little disciples
because they start off with the disciples, because obviously they want to let in their close friends, and then they bring their cousin and their friend, and then they all start coming into the barn.
Oh dear, that's interesting. Could you talk about the adult world and the children?
Yeah.
I've just drawn a parallel between the establishment and the general population. The general population seem to operate...
Just stand there.
Right.
Carry on talking, you're alright.
Yeah, well, society, the general population seem to operate in the same way as regards the establishment. They seem to think that the government or the establishment and the powers that be are doing something otherworldly, you know, like they're not in the same predicament and they're not just human beings like everybody else and they're not flawed. And, well, no, everybody knows that politicians are flawed, but I don't know, there seems to be some sort of blind trust and we'll just leave it to them.
The people who have no idea of what it's actually like, they're the people making all the rules.
Yeah.
So as long as you have people who could not even contemplate living in a shed for 6 months and thinking you've actually done quite well, because you have people who have no comprehension over that, we're never going to get a societal change.
I keep thinking now about biblical things.
I remember another bit where there were bullies in the playground.
Pato is the bully, obviously, and he says to him, "We know something you don't know." And then all the other kids go, "We know something you don't know." And he's such an evil character.
There were always a cock at the midden, and that's it.
Yeah.
And obviously that lad got cock at midden.
Yeah. And
which is probably disturbing now, for looking at it from modern eyes, but in the 60s, that's, you have to realise the Second World War had only finished 12 years prior to that, probably less.
Yeah.
And rationing wouldn't have been over for so long, and it were austerity Britain properly.
I remember I used to work at Pitt, right down Wrigley Pit.
Oh yeah?
Well,
I used to work at actually
at Burnley
Pit.
Yeah.
But I used to get changed at Wrigley Pit. And they actually filmed it footage at a playground there at Wrigley Pit.
Oh right.
Yeah. There's a canal bridge there, I think it's Cementworks there now or something.
Yeah, there is a playground scene in it where there's a bully on the playground, isn't there?
That's right, well he come from Ribblesdale School, John Mills, went to Ribblesdale School for some kids he wanted a bully, that's right, yeah, you're right there, yeah. Yeah. They're on swings, they were bullying on swings and stuff, you know.
Yeah, and then they all start going, "We know something you don't know," to this bully. Obviously, and it's quite dark, the
that's
camera
something
work.
powerful that they've got, yeah.
Yeah, they've got the power, and then
they've got some information.
He slaps Hayley Mills across the face, which is just unforgivable.
It's quite a scary scene, that bit, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's quite traumatic because he's violent and horrible. And
The only violence is children.
Yeah, dishing it out.
And all the little kids buy into it.
Yeah. So there's this little children's world, isn't there?
Yeah.
Which they keep secret.
Yeah.
Which that you're talking about, that secret thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, this children's world where they decide not to let the adults in for some reason.
Yeah. But it's dark. It's a little bit like Lord of the Flies, or these films where you kind of go, "Oh, something. They're trying to make us a little bit scared now."
That little lad was huge. I can't remember his name now.
No, for years we always did impressions of our Charles.
He likes boiled eggs.
Do you want a kitten? It's not dead.
Because he was so cheeky, you believed him, you know.
You daft, you soft in the head.
My dad worked at Rolls-Royce for 33 years, and Alan Barnes, who plays one of the kids, were actually working alongside my dad.
Oh yeah, I don't remember that at all.
Can you not?
No.
You worked at Rolls, can you not remember?
No, yeah, you'd have thought. You'd have thought. No, you'd have thought someone would have mentioned Alan Barnes, wouldn't you? Because,
yeah.
With the film and stuff.
No, he actually worked at Rolls-Royce.
That little lad.
Yeah.
That's the face you remember. I can see his face now with his little hat on. You know, little schoolboy hat on. I can still see it. You know. Don't wear them now, do they?
No.
No. Oh, little hats with triangles round top. A bit like these, weren't they?
Yeah, yeah, they were.
But he also felt sympathy for him because being the youngest, he was always getting the backhand or, you know, that clip around the ear.
Yeah.
Although at times you thought he was actually deservedly, but at times you thought, you know, it did seem unfair. And obviously the whole storyline along him trying to save his kittens. And that was a crucial moment. When, even if he didn't actually believe he wasn't using himself, the fact that he didn't take care of his kittens.
Just be careful, Tim. It's quite a bit rockety and a bit overgrown. And
a little one called Spider. Remember a little black one called Spider? And I think, oh, here we are, cats coming up. Frankie wants to be involved. So I think they take him in barn and try and hide him from the dad so he doesn't kill him.
Yeah.
And I think later on in film, I don't think it was at the beginning, but a little spy, I think he belongs to a little boy. There's a little boy in there, and he calls his one Spider. It's a little boy, and he dies.
Because you're Jesus and you let my kitten die. It's like the problem of evil, isn't it, in a philosophical sense?
Because he'd let his cat die. That's why he were mad about that, because the cat were dead.
Yeah.
And if he'd have been Jesus, he'd have saved his cat. So
yeah, well that makes
he waited
sense.
to his time when there were a few people there.
I get you.
I'll dob him in.
And they're trying to keep it a secret from grown-ups in general, from adults.
And it's Charlie's birthday party, so the majority of the kids are at the party, and they're playing blind man's buff, I think, and then little Anne goes for a piece of cake and she takes a big lump and puts it on a plate, and she says she gets asked by her auntie, "Who's that?" She said, "What are you doing?" And she said, "It's mine." And she says, and basically she lets slip that it's for Jesus. So then she gasps and puts her hand up to her mouth because she realised she's told an adult and not a child. And back then they used to cut to a black screen.
Who are ya? Who are ya? Who are ya?
But Simon, my husband, has got like an East Lancashire accent. She's a little bit Yorkshire-ish, a bit of a Yorkshire twang. And I used to make him say, "Hey Kathy, it's Jesus," because I just like the way he said it. And I don't think they actually say that in the film. Because I asked my mum recently about what they actually said in the film. The little boy Charlie is really endearing, and I think what he says is,
"It's not Jesus, it's just a fella."
ask everybody what that line is.
Yeah.
And you could have it one after the other.
That's not Jesus, he wore a frock.
I think Jesus is just a fella.
It's not Jesus, it's just some fella.
He's not Jesus.
He's not Jesus, he's just a fella.
That's not Jesus, it's just a fella.
That's not Jesus, he's just an ordinary bloke.
It's Jesus. Jesus, you know.
It's not Jesus, it's just a fella. And he were really upset that he hadn't saved the cat, I think.
It can't be Jesus because the kitten died. So it's not Jesus, it's just some fella.
Well, that's dangerous, isn't it then? Because you're always set up for failure then, aren't you? Yeah, because they'll always end up saying, and all he did was this.
Yeah, because he's just a fella. Yeah. He's not Jesus.
No, and he's living in the same world you are. Paper's still paper, pens are, and that's all you've got is same materials.
Yeah, you're just a person.
We don't have any magic.
And the whole thing shatters. But that the fragileness of the kids' faith and how much they believe.
They still think it's Jesus still.
Everybody knows somebody that wants to come and see Jesus.
Yeah.
Jesus shall reign to the end of all time. In beauty eternal thy banner unfurled, not clearest and grandest old hill in the world.
You felt sorry for this convict, you know. You're on his side.
That man is not what you think he is.
She loved him. And she was still adamant that it was Jesus.
So let's just further out down, David.
I've never been down here.
Have you never been down here?
Nope.
It's quite a nice area down here.
But you sort of were hoping for a slightly different ending.
And you can feel it snowballing and more children know, and it's starting to lose control, and you can't retain the secret because it's just eking out all over the place. And I think it does snowball into that feeling that this is all going to end terribly badly.
Dad and somebody else have gone to the barn, shut him in, and then...
Local police were involved, weren't they? They didn't use actors for police, it was just...
Oh, were they?
It was 6 local bobbies. I think at one time, I was sure or convinced I was talking to a bobby who'd been in film. But my memory, anyway, I've sent an email to his granddaughter asking if it were true, and she says, I can't remember, he'd have told us if it were. And I think the director, Richard Attenborough, or producer, whatever it were, had asked for police help with some uniforms, and he says, can do better than that, I can give you 6 policemen. And so the 6 policemen were actually Lancashire police.
I think Hayley Mills was still convinced he were Jesus, even when police were after him. And they were a bit where up. Kids were down at, I think they were behind a fence or a wall. They were kept away from barn anyway. And police he comes out and they start searching him, and he's like that. And she's looking, and it's almost
like he is on the crucifix, and that's what they were worried about.
And Kathy's being wrestled by the police across the field. Oh, it's just heartbreaking.
And he was taken down the farm track to where all the kids are all actually swinging on the gate and on the walls. All the crowds amassed to go and see
Jesus. And lad, he would convince you yourself. Is it Jesus, you know?
I think a couple of years ago, this one in front of you here, they'd actually found people living in it, and I think police had to come and take them away, yeah.
What, living in
it.
Illegally or?
Illegally.
It weren't their shed?
No, because people actually own this land.
Oh, right.
So yeah.
So that was someone else's shed and they'd broke in and then squatted in it.
Right. Squatted in it,
How will we distinguish sort of Jesus from the normal man in the street, or some sort of evangelist, or some powerful leader? Would he be born, like me or you, or would he be born to into royalty or that kind of thing, into business?
Who are ya? Who are ya? Who are ya?
They might actually use him as entertainment, which is just scary, which I don't blame. We're digressing now, which I wouldn't blame necessarily the kids for. It's the fact that it's just how they're sort of abandoned intellectually these days, our children. They're not actually given anything to engage with, are they? So if they did find him these days, they'd probably be quite realistic about it and realise that he's probably just a homeless person and nobody knows where he is or anything about him.
Maybe it's somebody who was rough sleeping that they might find, and I think children have this deep empathy about looking after people that maybe comes across in that film.
I can't help but make a connection to the film and the fact they found this guy in a barn, and the story that you told me earlier when we just got out of the car.
What was that?
About your shed.
Go on.
Do you know what I mean? Because I was saying, like, how would it pan out today if some kids found a bloke in a shed, and then you were telling me about that issue with that someone had been in your shed.
Yeah.
Which just thinking about it now, thinking, oh my God. That's what could have happened if we remade the film again today. That's the sort of person they'd probably find in a shed, wouldn't it? It wouldn't be a convict on the run.
No, it were people with that either homeless or doing other things in your shed.
Yeah.
The first thought would be kind of a stranger danger thing. Let's call the police or let's lynch him because he might be a baddie.
Down this way, Dave. Sorry.
Ooh.
Other way.
Ooh,
So these are all sort of old land.
Wellies, my brother's long grey socks with the blue thing round the top that all lads used to wear, the long sock, a tatty navy blue skirt that was in the rag bag, a hand knitted jumper that was in the rag bag, and a gabardine coat that nearly all girls wore with the hood on the back. And that's what I wore day in, day out, except when we went to Sunday school. And I got to wear my school coat, which was a dark green coat, and I had still the grey socks and these tie-up boots that I had to wear, and I think I still had the other clothes underneath, so I wasn't glamorous at all, really. because you were always on the farm, and that's how they were a poor family. They didn't have a lot of stuff, so it really didn't come into it getting dressed up.
And when you're young, you know, they are gods, aren't they? And
That's what Gary thought of Alan Bates.
And then when you get to my age, you're ordinary people, aren't
Yeah.
Various forms are have the strength to move a lot of people, don't they?
Yeah.
So, it ain't uncommon to have people who love art to think that they're heroes and actual, you know, somewhat superhuman about them.
Well, there's no magic wand, is there?
No.
You know, people think, oh, they're going to fix this. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Might have a different way of looking at things or different ideas, but no quick fix.
Yeah.
Sometimes people's perception of what is art is someone who paints or draws. So giving people them different views.
Yeah,
I think that it's a belief in a sense of purpose, isn't it? If you're doing something and you're engaged in something, that community engagement, you're like a follower. Definitely.
Yeah.
It's amazing as well, isn't it? How, like, because Hayley Mills, obviously, she's like the ringleader as such, and I can't remember any point in the film where no one actually challenges her as a leader. They just believe her.
Yeah.
They kind of instantly believe that, yeah, she's right, and it is, you know. So it's kind of like, you know, that says a lot about her strength of character there, doesn't it? Really.
It's funny, isn't it? Because they know that's what Jesus did. Jesus was gentle, and Jesus, you know, saved people, and so they saved Jesus.
One time I gave a homeless man a watermelon.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
So this is the reenactment of 2, isn't it? I suppose this is the second part of it, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's come again.
In a way.
I think the kids like myself and at that age who watched it thought, really, wow, you know, I wish that had happened to me, if I'm honest.
Yeah. Someone else
so
said last week.
I wouldn't tell any adults anyway, so I was just a bit gutted that, you know, incidents of that nature didn't happen in my childhood.
If I'd have found a man in a barn, would I have believed?
Like I say, somebody's been bringing the food down here.
Right.
Just be careful.
Oh, so
There you go.
mince pies.
Yeah, somebody probably having the Christmas dinner.
Crikey, how long ago were it? So when you've been down here last? Is it
Last
a while?
time, probably, yeah.
So a winter.
Well, yeah, probably like end of last year. Because we've come to clear up and burn everything off and restart it and move it all about. And obviously somebody's been, just be careful. So...
3 cheers for the people who've only just been up Pendle today for the first time ever. Hip hip! Hey! Hip hip! Hey! Hip hip! Hooray! Well done! Will you be going up again?
Yes!
Not today.
Should we do it again now?
Not in 2018.
I've been like a million times.
Yeah?
I've been walking with my dad. I've been walking with my auntie.
There's a scene, and it's near the end, where them 2 little lasses turn up late, and they're dressed in balaclavas, gabardines and wellies, and they says, have we missed him? And she says, yes, you have this time.
So we come to clear up and obviously gone in the shed. And people have been in this before because somebody originally broke the door by opening it and kicking it in and going in the wrong way.
Oh.
Be careful when you go in.
Oh, so they've actually been...
Yeah. Like I say, somebody's been bringing the food down here.
And some pasta as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's almost like they were setting up home here, isn't it?
Well, like you say, you don't know, do you?
Well, when you're looking back, especially the nativity scene, it's like there they are, homeless. They can't find anywhere to go, and they put in a barn, and they sort of then keep saying, "Oh no, we're full," you know what I mean? There's no room, which is a lot like it is now. There's no room.
Come to clear out. When we're just coming in the shed, and I think you mentioned it. You come in first, don't you?
Yeah, I saw some needles on the floor, and that was the first thing I'd seen.
Packed lunch on the table, mince pies, bag of pasta.
In this particular shed? They didn't sleep in this shed?
Yeah, this is the shed.
Oh, this is the shed?
This is the shed.
Oh, right.
So she just came down and...
She came down to open
Right.
it up after winter.
Right.
Yeah. And yeah.
Somebody'd left behind. Wow.
Yeah, and so they've been sleeping down here. So.
Oh, filling up now.
What were they cooking on?
You know, and had his meals cooked. He'd been doing some cooking. He had a little camping stove, I think.
I think it's really sad, isn't it? When you look at the shed and how dilapidated it is and how desperate somebody must be to spend their Christmas in here.
I wouldn't have a problem with anybody living down here. I think it's the way it was done rather than actually people actually squatting in here. That wouldn't bother me as much as finding dirt syringes and needles that somebody had used and just thrown on the floor.
They shouldn't really be in here, because if they set hut on fire and they're asleep, someone sets hut on fire, you're right job to get fire brigade down here. Jack Thompson had one, a greenhouse. Kids set it on fire and there were an empty gas bottle in and it exploded. It made a right mess. Yeah, but if this is the only place you can sleep, that's it.
It's not nice for somebody to be living in this, over Christmas especially. It's cold, lonely, quiet.
It happened to a friend of ours as well. They had a homeless person living in their shed on their allotment. So I think it's quite a common, if you can get into an allotment shed, I think it seems to be quite a common place, particularly over winter.
It's off the street.
It's off the street. Nobody's going to bother you, are they? Because they're not going to find you.
It's in winter as well.
It's in winter. People aren't using their allotments very much.
There might be some winter kale.
There might be some winter kale to cook.
So there's a bit of food, fresh food.
Yeah, but if you can just be somewhere quiet and away. But you've got to be pretty desperate to have your Christmas in here, haven't you?
Yeah.
Do you think it'd be very Christmassy to sleep here?
No. I'd need some tinsel.
Do you think you could put tinsel up and make it
Yeah.
feel more homely?
Or get a packet
I
of mince
get a
pies.
stick and little spiders on the stick then. I would give the spiders little Christmas hats. Very cute, more Christmassy. Yeah, that would
Do you think it'd be comfy to have a bed in here?
No, not really.
What do you think it'd be like at night?
I'd just sleep. Exactly where I'd sleep. I'd sleep outside.
Well, it shouldn't be happening, should it? No. Not in this day and age, it shouldn't.
They're that desperate, they've had a walk around and come in here.
There's water here.
Yeah.
So you could have a quick wash, so you wouldn't necessarily know who it was if you saw them in the street, would you?
Who are you?
There are homes available. They're just not being utilised and used, and the spaces that could be used for shelter are the very places that are being excluded from the people that need them. So even a barn or a shed is, for somebody who's homeless and living on the street, a shed is a palace. It's a palace. It's protected. It's out of the elements, and it's somewhere relatively safe compared to being on the street.
It's pretty dry, it's weatherproof, and it begs the question whether or not people who have other allotment sheds which aren't used during the winter
can be offered to worthy causes. It must be better than that's being on the streets, and it might be just a initial interim option before better solutions are found.
People are lacking empathy right from the top, right down to the bottom of the person on the street, really, or the person who is homeless. And then I feel a sense of guilt of what am I doing or not doing.
You look at people every day going through the streets, and that last thing you think, oh, they're homeless. Some people might look like they're homeless, but some people are and you don't realise it. One of them, I think, I don't want to get political or all like that, but the government has got a handle on it all wrong. They're looking after their own people.
Without ranting and going on about Tory Britain and, you know, austerity measures are a bit hard, but it's affected the poorest of people in such strong ways that they are homeless and they're having to find sheds to live in, sleeping on streets, and it's a sad state of affairs. We're one of the richest countries in the world. Somebody has to find a shed to live in. Church doors are locked. They should be open and allow people in at night, and they could find a way of dealing with.
We should do more, and we should be able to do more for them. You know, nobody should be homeless in today's society, should they really?
If I found somebody in my shed, I'd let him stop here. I'd shed up round him. And just let him live here, I think. It's not that easy, I know, but...
Well, it's one of them, isn't it? You know, like, because where I am, my shed's got a lock on it, but there was somebody in Gaza's shed on, I think it was Monday night. And I just think like this homelessness, it's getting more and more rife in it, and I think, you know, that people are going to get more and more desperate, and obviously when it's winter they're going to find somewhere just to get their head down, aren't they, rather than be outside, you know. So what I've said to Myla is I'm not locking my shed door anymore, because I think if someone has to break in, they're already in a bad situation, so to break in it's going to cause damage, and I don't think that they should have that on the plate as well. So I'm going to leave my shed open so that if anybody does need to bed down, they're not having to break in, they can actually just go and get their head down and whatever, you know. With no power down there's no power tool, so if folk got nicked it's only going to be like £5 spade, isn't it?
Well, Pam, who was in the film with me, when she was on her farm, which it was her uncle and auntie's farm where it was filmed, and they farmed across the road up the other way, and she said we used to have tramps every summer, used to come and sleep at barn, and the mum and dad said, don't worry, they're just on the way somewhere else, they'll not hurt you. And that's what she was brought up with, tramps we called them.
Yeah, we did.
You used to see them on roads, didn't you?
And they had names, a lot of them, didn't they?
Yeah, and they used to probably come back each year, didn't they, on the way trailing round. And she said that we just used to oh yeah, it's old Bill the tramp, that's all right.
Yeah, we had Lenny the tramp in
Yeah, yeah.
Well, they seem to be more transient as well, rather than staying in one place. Yeah. Well, what you expected a tramp to be so really? Well, you know, as a child, that's how I, you know, you always expected a tramp to be one person that literally tramped about.
Around,
yeah.
It is sort of very, very noticeable as to how we you see these signs of sort of transient life, whether it's sort of discarded sort of homes for heroes, sort of sweaters, you know, in woodland and sort of sleeping bags around sort of various allotments. And
the way things are going today, with everything that's going on, I think more and more people are finding themselves in a desperate situation. So if you've got, you know, if you've got a place, and it's quite hidden down here, isn't it? If you've got a place where, right, I've literally got nowhere to go, I can just put my head down here, it's going to happen, isn't it? You know, and I mean, you know, my family have lived down here, well, all my life, so I've spent loads of time down here, and you know, there'd never been any stories like that in the past of something like that happening, because you'd know about it, wouldn't you? You know, it's the first time I've heard that, but it's not the only place it's happening. You know, we've walked the dog in Barrowford and found people sleeping, you know, people sleeping in the park at Barrowford underneath down by the river there. I mean, you know, this is stuff that never went on. I guess in small places like that, maybe it did, maybe it didn't, I don't know, but you never knew about it, you know, as kids, and I think it's just the sign of the times. We're just living in that thing of like, you can't keep living in a way that's like, that needs resource all the time, and then if you haven't got that, what do, you know? And we don't seem to be living in a world where there's that kind of, you know, not everybody's got someone to go to, or someone's got a settee, or you've got a family member. It's like there's more and more people that can't even call upon that now. So
there's a guy outside booths, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Begging.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, he wasn't even begging, he was just sat in the cold and went and got him some food and an umbrella and something to sit on.
Well, we always did, you know, every time we saw him, you know, every time I saw him, I always asked him if he wanted a coffee or anything.
We had a conversation, didn't we, about whether we should take him home.
Mm.
Or offer him a shower, and we didn't do, did we?
No.
Why did we not do that?
And then he's just disappeared. Now, whether that's due to people complaining or he's just decided to move on, we don't know, or something more sinister. We don't know. We never know, do we, about these people? They're just a faceless society, and they just disappear.
It's not that there isn't the space. We do have the space. We just very selected on who's allowed to use that space. So, and if you try and put yourself in their position.
Yeah. So in a way, it's the system, isn't it, what's wrong? Because the space is there.
Yeah.
The system that governs that space doesn't allow those people who haven't got the space to access it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Jesus Christ.
Who are you?
Jesus Christ.
Who are you?
Jesus Christ.
Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Who are you?
Jesus Christ.
Who are you?
Jesus Christ.
Who are you?
Jesus Christ.
Who are you?
So we didn't really come down a lot this year. We're a bit disappointed, weren't we? So, but hopefully we'll get down this year and do a little bit more.
Oh, Pendle, stand solo. Briggs, Burnley and Clitheroe, Whalley and Combe, Queribble and Hatters, their waters to me. Barley and down and contented I feed.
Old Pendle, thou standest alone, twixt Burnley and Clitheroe, Whalley and Combe, where Hodder and Ribbles their waters do meet, with barley and downham, content at thy feet. Old Pendle, by moorland and fell, in glory and loveliness ever to dwell. On life's faithful journey, where'er we may be, we'll pause in our labours and not think of thee. Old Pendle, majestic, sublime, thy praises shall ring to the end of all time. In beauty eternal thy banner unfurled, the clearest and